what do we do? Okay, we're an adult now. We're recognizing, man, clearly something happened. Maybe I remember it, maybe I don't, but here I am, an adult, and I have massive abandonment issues. I think people are going to leave me all the time. Like, this is like irrational fears, right? So how do we deal with this?
So the first thing, let's just take what you just said. For example, somebody's going to leave me. It's really about, we give our power to authorities outside of us, because I'm still looking for the validation from the original wound. What I try to teach people to do that works really a lot faster than we think, which is really interesting, is you've decided that if they reject me, I will have to reject myself. The major fear as an adult isn't that they're going to reject me. It's that I agree with them unconsciously. And when they reject me, I actually do leave myself. I start doing coping mechanisms of perfectionism, which is leaving my true self, or dating, or all the things we mentioned. We start looking externally for that validation when that person leaves us, because we think, oh my God, now I'm void again. And really what that void is, a void of self. So what I try to teach people is get real about how you feel so you can heal. What do I feel? Void. I feel shame. I feel like shit. And if it's too much of a negative emotion, do not do it yourself. I highly recommend hiring a therapist or a coach, someone who can do it with you, which is what I do with my clients. I go with them in that journey of emotion, so you can look at the negative emotion in that void and face it and say, holy shit, the thing that I actually need is me. So I put you on a self-care regimen. What do I do right now to feel good? Not looking outside of me. What are people going to think? What's the guilt that I feel? What do I need right now? Do I need a hot cup of cocoa and a bath? Do I need to listen to music that reminds me of my 5-year-old self? What can I do right now to fill that void? And another piece of this, a huge piece of this, is reparenting. Yes. What is the parent you needed? If it wasn't you, but you're literally looking at your niece or nephew or child, whoever around you. I used to do it with my little dog, because that's what I loved more than anything when I started this work. I was like, if I'm actually thinking about how my little dog is going to feel, how would I treat her when she's feeling like this? It sounds wacky, but it works. And I was like, oh my gosh, I treat my dog better than I treat myself. That was the wake-up call. Why don't I do that to myself? Oh, because no one has ever given me permission to know that I deserve that amount of love. So it's re-parenting ourselves, seeing that, oh my God, maybe my parents weren't perfect. Maybe they didn't get this. Maybe they didn't do it right because it wasn't done right to them. Maybe I can stop that pattern and start relating to myself totally differently than I've been taught to relate to myself. And when other people leave me, or my money leaves me, or my house leaves me, or whatever shit leaves me that validates me, I can still stay with me.
Right.
That's something we don't do.
Oh, awesome stuff. Leaving me speechless. That's awesome. Thank you. No, that's really good. I hope everyone watching right now is also, feeling that, same kind of really recognition. Like, it's a big recognition for me of like, oh, right. Okay. Every time. Yeah. It's like this self-abandonment cycle over and over again. And then it's this freaking cycle of like, it's never going to end, because it's this freaking hamster wheel of like going round and round and round and trying to get the validation outside in this way and that way. And it's just like this, it's a very exhausting kind of experience in my experience.
It's super exhausting. I mean, I was on that hamster wheel, so I know. And when I finally decided to completely heal, is I literally took myself out of all the things that I was doing as Band-Aids. I literally took myself out of my career at one point, not this career, the career before that. And I said, wow, I'm getting false validation from that, but I'm always looking for that to confirm that I'm still validated. And so any of those patterns I had in life, I took myself out of. Now, not everyone can do that, but I was in a position where I could. And I took myself out of it, and I really sat with the emotions that came up when the Band-Aid was ripped off. Because the thing is, we can have so many Band-Aids, but Band-Aids need to be changed. And when you change them, the wound is still there. And what we need to do to heal the wound is really cater to that wound, not Band-Aid it. And so my work is like, let me look into that place that I'm scared of. Let me look into who I truly am and not buy into the misbelief that it's going to confirm I'm not enough. That's why we run from self. But maybe buy into the belief that I was wrong about that in the first place. And why was I wrong about that? And you start looking at your history, which is where the original wound comes back in. You're like, oh, that was a pattern, not a truth. We think that these things that we went through in childhood, that's validation of truth. I'm not enough. I'm not good. I'm not good. No, it's a habitual thought that became a truth for you, but it's actually not.
Right.
The reality of who we are is beautiful and worthy, but we don't know how to figure that out until we go in and see why I believe that in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And then decide, that's ridiculous. What's my new reality? Let me now look for proof. That's what I have people, I'm like, look for proof that you might actually be good, that you might actually be enough. Just look for proof. Because I'm not seeing much proof that you suck other than in your head, and then you project it and you make that mean something, right? It's a whole other subject. But really proof that you might be a good person. And if you don't see any, start doing it so you can see how people react to you. So you can see who you truly are. One of the really unfortunate truths about this, but real truths that we need to look at, is a lot of us felt not enough in our family. But then when we branched out into the world, we're like, wait, I'm popular? What's going on? Or wait, I have friends? That's weird. And then we realize that maybe the truth was in the family, there might have been some emotions that were negative that we took on. If you're highly sensitive, it might not even have been directed at you. It might have been just a situation where you felt heavy emotion and you took that on as, this is me. And then you go into new environments, it doesn't feel comfortable because it's not familiar. And you're like, I'm going to reject the good stuff. And you go back to creating negative patterns. It's about ending the negative patterns and believing the really healthy good stuff and going that way and trusting it and not being afraid that it's not really going to be what you think it is, but trusting it anyway. There's a million examples of that we can get into at some point.